Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Got a few things to talk about. Preseason football officially started this weekend. That's a good deal. Of course, my Raiders got to play in the Hall of Fame Bowl, Hall of Fame game last weekend, which against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which didn't really prove a whole lot to me. Obviously it's preseason. But we're getting to see a second, third stringers, and fourth stringers, and people trying to make the team. So it's a good chance to look at the depth of the team, and it's a good chance to look at the schemes that they're going to use during the season. So I find that very interesting. I don't try to look at it as an actual game, more of watching a scrimmage and trying to make some notations about how the coaches are going to perform this year, how various individuals are going to perform this year, so it's kind of wild. The Jacksonville game didn't really prove a whole lot because it kind of dominated the whole time. I don't think that Jacksonville, despite what some people are saying, is going to be a whole lot better this year. I think they've got a ways to go, unfortunately, but the Raiders showed me a few things, both in the Jacksonville game and the Vikings game. Jacksonville game, like I said, looked good. The play calling looked good. Stidham, both games, the backup looks like he's solidifying as the second stringer, so that looks good. He obviously knows the system. Josh McDaniels, I will give him credit for that he did bring in guys that knew his offensive scheme and knew his system, so that helps out tremendously. These guys aren't tremendous athletes or tremendous quarterbacks, although Stidham did have a good run for a touchdown, had some pretty good runs. So he is athletic. He can get the job done with his feet also, and he knows that system like the back of his hand, which is awesome. So he was hooking up with some receivers and doing some things. First game, Brandon Parker looked really bad. So that's one thing with the offensive line that I'm not happy about. The offensive line still definitely has some work to do, but it looks like they've improved a little bit. Starting to get the hang of things underneath McDaniels, and it looks like they're improving a little bit, but man, we still got a little ways to go, I think, on the offensive line. Same thing with the defensive line. In neither game did any of the tackles really impress me, but I should say defensive tackles, none of them really impressed me all that much. We still got a giant hole in the middle, which the Vikings exploited. Hopefully we can shore that up on with the first string, but any kind of depth beyond that, it doesn't look like we have anything. So defensive tackles, I'm not really happy with, but in just the defensive play calling in general, it kind of looks like we're getting into like a bend but don't break mode kind of thing, and I guess it'll get the job done, I hope, but this new defensive coordinator is not really impressing me a whole lot. Our secondary yesterday didn't look that great, and like I said, once again, it looks like I'm picking on second and third stringers, but there were a lot of receivers that were left kind of wide open. Wasn't real happy about that, but it is what it is, and hopefully we can pull it together. I know we got some good corners and some good we do have some good secondary that's in there, so we're gonna be okay there, I think. But like I said, defensive tackles, that line still kind of scares me, and it was weird watching it too because I'd heard all leading up to this in the OTAs and whatnot, preseason long, that we were going to switch to kind of a 3-4 defensive scheme, and I'm seeing a lot of modified 4-3, so they're kind of going back to the old schemes. I don't know if that's going to be inherent in the upcoming season to come or whatnot, because I know they talked about not only having like Max Crosby and Chandler at the edges, but possibly using them like as outside linebackers and whatnot. we'll see. We'll see. I mean, those guys are going to come to play regardless, and they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. So a couple things. I mean, Turner looked, the wide receiver Turner looked really good yesterday, but the guy is small. Man, he is quick. He is fast. He'd be a great option as possibly a third wide receiver, but his size scares me. He's going to have to outrun some of those corners. Man, he does not look big at all. He looks tiny out there. Got open a lot, and he can catch the ball. He had some real crisp routes, so maybe he is an option at that third wide receiver. I don't know, because we need a speedster that can go down the field and stretch the field, because Davante Adams is a great, number one receiver. Renfro is awesome in the slot, short yardage, but really, since we lost Ruggs to the extremely unfortunate tragedy, I really don't have anybody that can, scare me down the field. And maybe Turner can be that guy, at least for a little while. I don't know, but if he gets paired up against the corner that's tall and fast, he's going to have some issues. And, like I said, Parker looked horrible during the Jacksonville game. Had a rookie running circles around him, which wasn't good. Granted that kid's a beast. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but for Jacksonville, but still, a rookie shouldn't have been able to do that to Parker, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm thinking they might have to deal him or do something soon with him, because we need some offensive linemen. Because it's no good if Carr can't get the ball out. We can have Davante Adams, we can have we can have Renfro, we can have Darren Waller all we want, but if he's lying on his back, it doesn't help. That's hard to throw the ball from while you're being carted out on a stretcher. So we need to shore up that offensive line. And I was kind of going into this, I think they had the right strategy. They're just trying to put players at various positions on that line and look for the best player and regardless of what their natural position is, and try them out there. So I think that might work. I'm hoping until we can get some more depth at that line, that's what we might have to do, because that line's not, I wasn't real impressed with that, And even yesterday against Minnesota, our defensive line wasn't getting much pressure on anyone. Like I said, it is preseason, but, as the season wears on, these guys are going to get their chances to play if they stick around. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, we'll see. But there are a few players that kind of stood out to me. Like I said, our running back, the running back, I should say, situation looks awesome. Zamir White looks great. He looks explosive, fast, and crazy good for a rookie. And we had a couple of other guys that really impressed me. Really, really did a great job. And I think we're set for running backs. Yeah, between him, Drake, and Josh Jacobs, we shouldn't have any issue at all at running back. I think it's going to be a fun running game if we can open up some holes. They looked really good opening up holes against Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Once we went up against the Vikings, we won, but it kind of felt like towards the end, like we were laying them back in the game, which we were. Despite the fact that the Raiders led the entire time, it really got kind of scary and close towards the end, and I saw that happen way too many times the last couple seasons, and I don't want to go through that again. So if they can learn to finish off teams, I think that would be great. I know Darren Waller was talking about the new offensive schemes have much better red zone plays in place, and they're much more well-defined. So that should be a good thing. Because it seemed like they were getting down to red zone a lot, especially like last year, and really looked confused. So if they can work that out and have a clear, concise strategy going into that red zone, gonna have a leg up, and it's gonna look a lot better. what the heck was I going to say? Obviously, we haven't seen any starters play really, except for Josh Jacobs, who got a lot of play during the first game. But McDaniels, he keeps reiterating that he doesn't want to trade Jacobs. They didn't renew his 5th-year contract, on his contract, or extension, I should say, or whatever. However it's termed, but they did that to a few players. I think Leatherwood was one of them. I think Abrams might have been another. I hope they hang on to Abrams. If he can, I heard they're going to try him out at strong safety, which that man belongs at free safety. He just needs to be roaming and hitting people. They can't have him, really, because coverage is really kind of his been his Achilles heel. He improved greatly in that area last year, but man, if they put him as strong, I'm kind of scared at that. But as much as I like the guy, I think he's got a great attitude. He's a Raider through and through, but yeah, he can give up some points on coverage, and that kind of scares me if they're going to go that route. But we'll see. Like I said, there's a couple more games in preseason, and we'll see what happens. I haven't been able to watch any of the Tennessee Titans games, unfortunately, or game, I should say, because I think they only had one, right? But because this weekend was the official start of the preseason, despite obviously, like I said before, the Hall of Fame game. Yeah, it looks like the Ravens beat the Titans. The Titans, to me, look like they're in a little bit of disarray. I don't know where their future is going to lie. I hope they pull things together for the season, because if my Raiders can't do it, I'll be rooting for them. So hopefully they can pull things together, kind of. Big shout out to Then and Now Flea Market. Got to play their 1-year anniversary, which is really awesome. Got to play for about 4 hours. My voice is still a little bit rough. Got to sing. Got to meet some people, do some great things. It's a real good time. They're great peeps. So if you ever in the Trenton area and in Tennessee, check them out. Then Now Flea Market. And you can get my CD there. I'll be reiterating that. Yeah, let's try again at the end of the show. But yeah, had a real good time there, and free food. I've been advertising it for a little while now. Free food. But it was a good time. That was a great thing on Saturday. A lot of people showed up. The farmers market was across the street, so we got some crossover traffic from them too, which was great. So got to see some of the people from the farmers market come over and say, "Hey, what's going on?" So, and I was part of that. Thankfully, I was able to attract some people over, which was awesome. That's why I was there. So if you came out, great. I wish you would have stopped and said hi, but if you didn't, hey, next year maybe come by, or I'll be playing. I'll be playing in Humboldt on the 24th of September. So if you want to come by then, I have a few more details as that comes about. But I'll be playing on the 24th in Humboldt at the Fall Festival there. So if you want to come by and see me then, say hi. Please do. Please do. Hey, so this is a wrestling show, kind of. I mean, I like to talk about everything, but this is kind of a wrestling show. So let's talk about wrestling. Raw last week. The one thing that really stood out to me about Raw last week was the great vignette they had, and the great job they did selling the U.S. title at the U.S. Championship as a really important title, with the whole references to Harley Race and previous winners, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair. The list goes on and on, but really great vignette, and Ciampa really sold the significance of the event and had a good match against Bobby Lashley. So that's one of the things that really stood out to me last week. I was really impressed with WWE. And once again, they had SmackDown. Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux showed up on SmackDown again. This time, I love the presentation of this. Scarlett Bordeaux brought out an hourglass and set it down in front of Roman Reigns. And I thought that was just brilliant. I love that. Music hits, they come down, boom. I loved Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux in NXT and Impact and whatnot. And a really big fan of them, and I hope that they do well. And I hope it looks like they're really going to put a skyrocket on the back of these guys and go with it. So kudos to Triple H. Good job. Not sure I'm entirely sold on Karrion Kross's current look. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. He's just coming out kind of like a bomber-style jacket, and now he has the hair. He grew his hair back in. Guy looks like a freaking model. It's amazing. I mean, he looked like a killer before with the bald hair, but now with the bald head, I should say. And now the guy just looks like a freaking model. The two of them, it's scary. There's some good genes going on there, but yeah, that I really like the presentation of that whole thing when Bordeaux came out with the hourglass and Karrion Kross was saying TikTok, looking right at Roman Reigns. So I'm stoked. I'm really happy about this. I'm gonna start recording SmackDown and actually watching it just for Karrion Kross, just for that specific purpose. So they sold me. They got me. They hooked me. WWE, like I said, are doing a good job. The whole thing with Ciampa and the U.S. title and that the whole presentation of the importance of the title really impressed me, and I really, really enjoyed that. That was a good job. Triple H's fingerprints are starting to be shown a little bit more on the shows, and I'm happy that they are because it's improving the product dramatically. I mean, there's still some bumps in the road, and there's still some stuff that is left over from the old regime. It's going to be a while before they really get things streamlined, iron things out, because there's still a lot of loose ends that they got to kind of tie up from the Vince McMahon regime. And one loose end, speaking of, I believe they finally terminated Johnny Ace. So kudos to them for getting rid of Johnny Ace. They needed to do that desperately, especially with his tie-in to the whole scandal with Vince McMahon. So I'm happy to see Johnny Ace take his leave. Next person that kind of, I don't think they'll get rid of him, but I mean, kind of left over from the previous regime is Kevin Dunn. What are they going to do about Kevin Dunn? It seems to be keeping him around, but is it a situation where he just knows where all the bodies are buried? I know that he's had conflicts with Stephanie and Triple H in the past, so why are they keeping him around? I wouldn't be shocked or surprised to see if you see people like Road Dogg start showing up, in some of Triple H's former regime. I don't know what William Regal's contract looks like with AEW, but that would be an interesting hire too. Both those guys got great, minds for the business, so it would be a good pickup for WWE. I'm not sure why they even got rid of them in the first place. We'll see. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but Triple H is slowly improving things and slowly, like I said, his fingerprint is all over some of the shows, and it's getting more interesting. I'm actually excited about the WWE product, which I haven't been in a long, long time, So, I mean, hopefully this lights a fire under Tony Khan's ass, too. Because Tony Khan has been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say stagnant, kind of, but he's got some work to do. He's got some work to do because they had some great momentum coming out of the height of the pandemic, when they were carrying over some really creative shows and doing some good stuff, and product's starting to become a little stale. I still enjoy it, I still watch it, but they've got some work to do, Speaking of not stale, though, in AEW, CM Punk had his return on Dynamite last week. Pretty exciting. Pretty wild. came running out to the ring. A lot of people were wondering how well his surgically repaired foot had come through, and seemed to remove most doubts about it. From what I understand, though, the rumors I'm hearing is that he isn't yet been cleared to return yet. So yeah. Well, I mean, he did have that face-off against Moxley, which was great, but how long is it going to be before he actually gets in the ring? Is basically what I'm asking, because if he isn't ready, and like I say, he came running out to the ring, not just sauntering. He ran out to the ring, and he was faux kind of limping on one leg, making a joke out of everything. We'll see how long this takes. I'm assuming they expect him to return for the next pay-per-view, and they can have him face off against Moxley. That'll be a good match, Moxley against him. I'd like to see them bringing up some of their younger talent. Boy, it's still no sign of MJF, and it's either they're doing a great job working us all, or MJF is legitimately pissed. And to be honest with you, I don't blame him. Pay the guy. Every single angle that I've liked in AEW, every single thing from the very start has involved MJF, and this guy is the best heel in the business. Keep him. I don't understand what Tony Khan is doing. He's turning it into another TNA by paying these ex-WWE guys tons of money, and just kind of downplaying his foundations of the company, and that's not the way you got to do it. You got to build those guys up onto the same level as the ex-WWE guys, and then go past them, because it just makes your promotion look weak, But hey, I'm not the one booking it, and like I said in previous shows over and over again, he's got some brilliant wrestling minds there. He's got William Regal. He's got Arn Anderson. He's got, he had Tully Blanchard, and he pissed him off. So Tully Blanchard's gone. So it's, someone with zero experience in the wrestling industry, when you've got people like Jake Roberts and so on and so forth, all those people that are brilliant minds that have been in the wrestling industry for a long, long time. Well, what are you doing not utilizing these tools to the best of your abilities? It's not a good look, and they need to kind of address that. Rampage, didn't get to see, but I see some of the fallout from it. Beardhausen came on. I don't know if they're gonna keep Redbeard on as a permanent member of AEW. He's showed up a couple of times, obviously at the Brody Lee tribute and at one of the pay-per-views. Whether or not, I don't know, is he holding out for the Triple H regime to kind of pick him up again? He had Parker Boudreaux had his debut against Sonny Kiss. Parker won, then looked like he kind of turned that around at the end as far as what happened there. So we'll see. Sonny Kiss is an odd. I imagine he. I'm not sure what pronoun he's using. He or she is using this currently, because he's fluid gender. But how do you book that individual? And I'm not trying to be facetious or trying to be, homophobic or anything, but it's just that must be a really interesting individual to book. I'm not sure how do you book that? Is he in he or she in the men's or the women's division? it's a tough thing to address. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not making fun of the individual. I'm not at all. I mean, she is entertaining, but from a booking standpoint, I guess you could get very creative with that, but they haven't done so at all. They've hardly utilized this individual at all, and I think that's part of the problem. They don't know how to book Sunny. So, but Boudreaux had a impressive debut. Looking like a little mini Brock, I should say, out there. So he'll be interesting to see down the line. Looks like they're gonna book him as a killer, and that should work out. Other than that, really, Daivari versus Orange Cassidy, that's kind of a big deal. Nothing burger to me. Don't get me wrong, I like Orange Cassidy. I find him highly entertaining, but as long as he stays in his lane, kind of thing. I don't want to see him against Will Ospreay or anything like that. I guess Bryan Danielson cut a promo. Other than that, like I said, I didn't get to see Rampage, unfortunately, but it doesn't look like a whole lot happened. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they're going to continue to utilize Redbeard or whatnot from this point forward, But that's kind of the way things are in wrestling right now. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Give a shout out to, once again, Then and Now Flea Market, downtown Trenton, Tennessee. Check them out. Give a shout out to Peggy's Attic. You can go down there and you can check out. You can actually purchase a couple of my CDs. You can get some handmade items from my wife, and there's also, which if you look her up on Facebook, it's Hooked by Jenna Lynn. You can check out a variety of different local vendors. There's some great stuff there. And in addition to that, give a shout out to Lucky Lady Candles. Check them out on Etsy and on Facebook. And shout out to us. Shout out to Crushing Kayfabe. So check us out, crushingkayfabe.com. Crushing with a K. Check us out on a variety of different social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you're not listening to this listening or watching to this, I should say, on YouTube already, obviously we're available on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, pretty much everywhere except iTunes. I haven't been able to iron out the issues I'm having with iTunes, which really annoys me, but we'll get there eventually. It seems to be a billing issue, and I can't straighten it out, and so I'm going to probably end up getting on the phone with tech support for Apple, but we'll get there eventually. So check us out at all the major podcast hosting sites and find us there. And while you're at it, also check us out on Patreon, patreon.com. Once again, search for Crushing Kayfabe, Crushing with a K. So you'll find us there, and just for $1 a month, you can support the podcast and listen to the audio for, I should say, with ad-free. So you can listen to the audio ad-free and uninterrupted for just $1 a month. Help keep the lights on. Give us some support, give us some love, and just $1 a month. And aside from that, once again, pray for the people in the Ukraine. Send your money to some legitimate organizations like the Red Cross, UNICEF, etc., because they need our aid, and they're still facing the onslaught of Russian forces, unfortunately. So you have them in your thoughts and prayers, and please help them out. Send them some aid their way, because they need it, obviously. Aside from that, that's the end of the show. So thank you so much for listening, and God bless.